Hi guys. So today we're live essentially just to talk about the Great Siege of Newcastle, which happened on the 19th of October, and that was in 1644 though, not in 2020.
Would have been nice if it was 2020.
2020, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a Great Siege of Newcastle in 2020. Like, would it surprise you, Mark?
It wouldn't surprise me. We're not with this COVID stuff, I tell you.
No. So it's a bit depressing because last year on the 19th of October, me and Mark were at Newcastle Castle Keep running an investigation for our Halloween investigation, which we're not even having a Halloween investigation this year. That's how great 2020's gone.
Gutted about that.
Just to say hello to everyone, and if you're joining and you can leave a comment, you have to give StreamYard permission for the comment to show your name, so I can see like Dot's name, say hello Dot, and hello to Kirsty, and hello to Dan.
Oh, Dan's on.
And hello to Linda as well. We're getting all the excitement tonight talking about the Great Siege of Newcastle from our homes instead of from Newcastle Castle Keep. But yeah, no, in 1644, on the 19th of October was the day the city walls came down and the Scottish invaded Newcastle. So
how dare they?
I know. And we were lucky enough to be in the castle last year on this day, although quite a funny story, and Rob will tell you, I'm not sure whether Rob's watching or not, but Rob will tell you, we didn't know the significance of the date at the time. So
yeah, and Rob was quite politely reminding you about that as well the other day.
Yeah, he did. I put a post on this morning just talking about it, and Rob was like, do you remember, Keely, that do you remember that I was the one that told you halfway through an investigation last year? And I was like, yeah, we were at Newcastle Castle on that date, didn't even know.
But to be fair, neither did the actual the guides, though, because they didn't even know about it when we told them.
Yeah, no, so there was me, Mark, Louise and Tyona as the guides and of our group, and then the actual guides at the castle, they didn't know about the Great Siege either. We were like, oh, do you know about the significance of this day? And they were like, no, actually we didn't, but you know what, I've got a few nice pictures of the castle as well. I'll also say hello to Stephen. But yeah, no, I've got a few nice pictures of the castle as well. I can put them on. 2 seconds. I'll have to remove us from the screen. Lovely. Bear with. So this was this one, and I'll remove us because my face isn't present. Have to see my face. No, I'm joking. It's horrible. But a nice picture of me and Louise this time last year at the castle, just before the investigation. That was a good day.
And Louise looked so happy to be on that photograph, didn't she?
Yeah, no, I put it up on our 40th birthday. I put that picture on the page. I was like, when?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I bet she was thrilled.
I think she might be not.
Louise is going to be commenting, I think, tonight, but she's incredibly busy, so she couldn't come out on and chat about the experiences we had at the castle. If anyone hasn't actually, let's have a look. If anyone hasn't actually sort of seen my post from earlier, I will just read out the post about the history and the siege. So in January 1644, the Scottish forces allied with the Parliament and started their invasion of England. And Newcastle, being where it is situated in the northeast of England, is where the Scottish forces pretty much would have come to sooner rather than later. So we were we were right in the perfect place for a siege. Yeah, so this led up to the Great Siege of Newcastle. Newcastle had been asked to surrender many times. However, a decision had been made by our royalist mayor at the time, John Marley. He decided, we're not surrendering and we're going to fight this through. Royalist through and through. We're going to fight this. We need no parliament. So he fought that, and the Scottish were headed by Alexander Leslie, the Scottish Earl of Leven, and he didn't initially have the resources to invade Newcastle at the time. He didn't have the resources. Newcastle were quite strong. We had a really strong army. Royalists were doing well, and they didn't have the resources to invade us, so they didn't. But after that, there was the Battle of Marson Moor, and the Royalists were defeated, which left Newcastle defenceless against the Scots. So they invaded, and there was a siege of Newcastle that lasted ages, and for 9 weeks there wasn't any food or firewood imported into the town, so a lot of the poorer people were literally starving. Dot Toon Army. No, a lot of they were literally starving. Not great. But the townspeople were placed on rations, many went hungry, and the castle was defended by approximately 500 of Marley's men, and they were all using cannons, which would have been situated where the Great Hall is now. And I will actually show you a picture. I'll have to remove us again, but I'll show you a picture of the Great Hall, just because it is beautiful. This one was taken exactly a year ago as well by us. So you would have had all your cannons in this area, and they were defending Newcastle. And it was even said that there was legend had it the Scots had tried to destroy St. Nicholas's Church, which was a church at the time, not a cathedral, although it is now a cathedral. But they were going to take it down. They were going to take it down, and by cannon fire, they were going to take it all down. But we said absolutely not, and put the Scottish prisoners in the cathedral. At the church at the time, so we put the Scottish prisoners up there, so they couldn't get rid of the building because they would have got rid of their own. So we saved that one, which is now a cathedral, and we all love our cathedral. Well, I do. I like it. It's good. It's a good building. Yeah. So on the 19th of October in 1644, significance of the date, guys. That really exciting reveal. The western half of the walls of the city fell, and the Scots had entered the city of Newcastle. Royalists managed to keep fighting until the 22nd of October, when they eventually surrendered themselves to the Scottish army. Sad. But John Marley actually wasn't executed, and he became Newcastle's mayor again. He was re-elected after all of this, so there's a positive. The Royalists back up again, and John Marley in. So he wasn't executed. And there's even a little on Northumberland Street on top of the shops. There's a few statues, if you've seen them. I think they're these white statues on top of one of the shops, and they look down at you. And there is one of John Marley, our mayor at the time. And there's ones of other relevant figures as well at the time. So if you're next walking down Northumberland Street, have a look. Might be entertaining. There are actually bits of graffiti on the wall of the King's Chamber inside Newcastle Castle, left by soldiers at the time. I didn't see it when I was there, and I really wish I did. But at the time, as I say, last year, we were blissfully unaware. But yeah, there's been a lot of reports about paranormal activity in and around that area, and it would make a lot of sense. All of the cannons were fired from the Great Hall, and we've personally had experiences in that area too, haven't we, Mark?
Yeah, I've been there a few times myself, and I've mostly had most of my experiences in the Great Hall, but obviously the time when we were there, we had experiences in other parts of the castle, which was really quite good.
Well, if he got imprisoned, it's fine. At least he's watching over Newcastle. Toon Army. Oh dear. But no, I can't believe it. Last year we were investigating the castle, and it was a really great night. Like, honestly, it was a really great night. So we wanted to come on and talk to you about it. Just a little chit chat on the page. If anybody else, leave in the comments if you have been to Newcastle Castle and you've had any experiences. We do actually really want to hear. We'll talk about them. There was an experience that I had, which is a bit weird. Now, I don't sort of like And Mark will tell you I don't sort of like to talk about it, but I'm going to because I've uploaded the picture and everything. And I think there's a lead up to this, so I think Mark needs to tell you the build up.
Oh, do I have to really? Yeah. So anyway,
You've
guys,
got to because it would start to you.
it does. So basically, start off the investigation. I was down in the chapel with Dots and obviously a few of Dots' friends and that. And I basically start the night. I did a full sweep of the chapel, did a full sweep round, got nothing with the EMF, which is the electromagnetic field. Couldn't find anything. So when we went down, literally within about 15, 20 seconds of being in there, the EMF meter is just going absolutely crazy. And it was surrounded one area near where there's like a stone fireplace. It was around there. Then it kept moving away, coming back, moving away, coming back. We tried to get it to interact, but it wasn't really interacting much with it. It was just mostly just staying in the same place. So I decided to change my tactics a little bit because sometimes if you be aggressive towards them, you can usually get a bit more of a response. So I started being a bit aggressive towards it, just sort of like trying to sort of make it do something. Basically calling it a wimp and a few other unseemly words that I can't exactly put on live feed. But so at one point, I basically told it to go away and go and bug the other group. And within about a minute, it just completely just disappeared. We were going around, couldn't find a thing. And we were just about to go in the other part of the chapel. And all I heard was Kaylee shout on the radio, "We're going for a break, guys. We've been scratched." And the exact words were, "Oh, beep. That's me done that." So I'll leave it in Kaylee's capable hands to find out basically what happened up in the Great Hall.
So we weren't really getting too much activity upstairs. So if you've ever been to Newcastle Castle, you've got the Great Hall, and then you go up some steps more, and there's I can't think of the term, but you can walk fully around the top of the castle and look down into the Great Hall. It's like little corridors. I think I've got a picture. Bear with me. I'll have a look for you. No, I haven't. I haven't got a picture. But they're little corridors, essentially. You walk around the top of that. And I was leading the group, so it was me and Louise with a couple of lads, a couple of lasses. It was only really a small group. There should have been probably 6 of us at the time upstairs, because I think you were downstairs with Tyona, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So 6 of us at the time, and there wasn't really too much going on. And then all of a sudden, you hear Mark making his tea loudly.
I need my coffee, sorry.
No, my oven's going to be beeping in a second. I do apologise if it goes off. But
no, you're not.
Yeah, so we're upstairs around the top bit, and there wasn't really too much happening, but we had the REM pod set out. I think we had one of the K2s, the motion detector balls as well. And Louise has a lot more to talk about on this as well. So at some point when she's not as busy, because she is really busy, when she's not as busy, we'll get her on to tell her part of that, because she remembers a lot more than me. Weirdly, I sort of don't have too much of a recollection of that, but it makes sense. The group were all at the top, and all of a sudden I just felt like a burning on my back, and it felt like a burning, and there wasn't really much going on, but we were calling out, and I had like a scratch on my back, and I've got a picture of that, so I will show you. And I'm one to always say I never just say something is directly paranormal, but I didn't scratch my back, and I felt a weird hot burning sensation in the castle. It was just really weird. So I'll get the picture up and I'll show you. So it's only like a little scratch. It's nothing major, but it was weird. It was really weird. And unbeknownst to us, I think Mark had literally like shouted F off at it, and and then
It was a lot worse than that because I got sick of them.
that's what he told us. He told us that he shouted F off, but and I come on because a couple of one of the lads and a couple of the lasses, they weren't feeling very well either. So it was the case of I don't know whether I was scratched or not, but there was a scratch on my back, and I didn't do it. Sorry, my cats are being irritating. I didn't do it, and I don't know where it came from.
I mean, the significance thing about your scratch, though, and I mean, to be fair, this is what kind of I can't really understand is the fact that you had a split in your jeans. And the weird thing is when you look at the scratch itself and follow the scratch line, it actually goes down, and you actually see the imprint of the scratch on the jean as there's like a slit, and that was quite weird, and I couldn't obviously explain that. And for me, I've been scratched in the past, but I've never actually had any clothing damage because of it.
Yeah.
Now,
so
what I did. Sorry, Kate.
Sorry.
Go on.
So like my jeans, and just where the scratch was, my jeans had a rip in them as well, and it was just really weird. Like, because I hadn't ripped my jeans myself, I had scratches on my back, and Suki, no recollection of like hurt anything. I've never hurt myself. Like, you want the limelight, son? He's just wanting attention. He is.
He always wants attention.
He does. You always want attention, don't you, hon? Yeah. But so literally Mark's down there stirring everything up, sending it upstairs, and people not feeling well. I know, isn't he adorable? I'll take him on investigations if I can. Can we take Paracat?
No, you won't.
Good. Do you want to come on an investigation, Suki? Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he actually did want to come on the investigation when we were actually going, because you actually wanted to try and get in the bag at the time when you were packing up stuff.
No, I had the bags there, and you just sat next to the bags. Like, I'm coming. I'm like, no, you're not, pal. No, you're not. Yeah, he's just hungry for the limelight. He's like, oh, there's a live on. I want to be attention. I want to be in it. But literally, people feeling sick and everything. And I at the castle, I was just like, right. And I walkie-talkied it in. I was like, right, our team need to go for a break and get our energy levels up, because everyone was feeling a bit drained as well. And I've never sort of experienced anything like that, where it's been a group of people and everyone feeling the same. Mark Dot's asking you if you were pushed on the stairs.
I'll talk about that in a bit, because that was actually quite weird. But that was in the second part of the investigation. I actually forgot all about that. So thank you for reminding me about that. But I'll talk about that bit in the second part, because obviously just after what Kaylee was saying is, after they broke up for the break, we were in another part of the castle downstairs, and whatever went upstairs come back down, and we do actually have a live video of it, which I believe Tyona still might have it. If not, I know it's on one of the group chats. I will put it up on the page at some point. But you can actually hear me like talking away to it, and we're actually getting responses on the K2. So the K2 is actually flickering quite a bit, and it was really good to get that sort of thing about. It was really good to get that sort of interaction with it.
Response from it.
It was a little less aggressive than what it was.
A little less aggressive. My cats are fighting in the corner. Carry
on. But yeah, it wasn't as like aggressive as it was in the other part of the chapel, where it was literally constant. It would go away, come back, and it was just weird how the response I give it was to basically go forth and annoy them. It annoys them, and then
Yeah,
decides, oh, I'm going to come back down and annoy the hell out of these guys. Which obviously we wanted to break as well, but we were like, well, look, we're getting this activity, so we're gonna maintain this sort of activity in that area.
like the weird bit was that the activity that we were getting wasn't like anything other than harm. So there was a scratch there, and I think Louise had scratches on her back as well that she couldn't explain. There was scratches. There were people feeling sick. It was really weird.
And as I said, I still stand by my decision not to apologise about that, because that was probably your best experience ever. So thank you.
I'm got me. Sorry, I accidentally got the live on my phone on the live, so the live went live.
Well, you're not meant to do that.
No. King of interaction, kind of. That's correct. You know what? Like, it was weird though. Like, because I've never, other than the Guy Fawkes Inn, where the bedpost went bam, 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 I've never actually had anything. I've never had anything physically attack me before. Really, before that point. So I was a bit like, I've got scratches, and I never want to claim that anything's paranormal, because I'm not one of them people like, oh, a ghost scratched me. But it did. I think it did.
You see, after Katie had that, I went back up and I basically got to tell her exactly where she was when this happened. And myself, Tyona, Dot, and that, we had a good look around, but we couldn't physically see anything that could have that Katie could have caught herself on, especially with the sort of slight rip in her jeans. So I was thinking, oh, maybe there might have been
something I would have accidentally caught myself on.
Yeah,
or...
and I couldn't see anything, so there was nothing I could really sort of figure was like a paranormal, like sort of like anything sort of other than, you know, it was a great experience, but again, was it paranormal? Was it, you know, it's one of those things that you just don't sort of know.
Never gonna know either.
Never really know. Now, obviously, Dot mentioned before about me falling. Now, as I was looking around for this, I was actually looking around for the entrance to the rooftop, and I knew it was somewhere. I knew it was somewhere, but obviously, I was kind of talking to the group at the same time, and I actually fell down. There's like on the very top balcony. As you go around, there's like 3 or 4 steps, and I did actually fall down those 3 or 4 steps, and I actually felt something on the back as I went down. But again, I don't know whether that was me clipping the wall as I went down or not. I don't know. But obviously, it did kind of put the wind up us a little bit. And obviously, Dot was like, you know, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I think so. And I kind of just sort of shrugged it off a bit. But then obviously, completely forgot about it. And when we're doing the investigate, when we're talking about the debrief afterwards, I didn't even think about it, and it wasn't until obviously Dot just mentioned there. But yeah, that was weird, and that was around about the time we were actually looking for the roof to go upstairs. So was that somebody pushing me in the right direction for the roof? I don't know.
There was also the group that I was in also said that they heard like chains rattling in the chapel area. And I think the dungeon's just next to the chapel area, if I remember rightly.
That's right.
And I never, I wasn't really myself after the scratching thing, so I sort of didn't. I wanted to, but I wasn't as big of a part of the investigation after that as I would have liked to have been. But everyone sort of said they heard it, and I think I was sat down trying to regain a bit of energy because I felt like I was just massively drained. How cute is he?
Thing is, I don't even think we had anything like that at all down there, which was a really good experience for you guys. And you know, we had obviously the slightly different experience altogether, because you know, we didn't tell you where we had any of the stuff, so that's obviously the way we work. We don't tell anybody. We basically mention that we had this, and this, but we don't say whereabouts it was, so that if they have that experience down there, then that's basically backing up our sort of investigation down there. But in regards to like the chains and that, I never heard anything like that. But obviously we did have the that activity. Now, in regards to that activity, we never actually had anything from that, whatever it was, for the rest of the night, really.
Yeah, I wish.
Certainly didn't think it, which is a shame because I think it would have been nice to actually get to know what that was and who that was.
Well, it was just bizarre because obviously it was on the night of the Great Siege of Newcastle that all of this activity was going on, and we've been the castle before. I don't think you were there this time, but the first
No, I
time we were
wasn't.
there, the first time we were there, we were at the castle and there was activity, but it was nowhere near as much. So, I mean, I've been to the castle twice and we're only recounting the events of one night. And I mean, I've had personal experiences at the castle as well when I was younger, but I'm only recounting to you the 19th of October 2019. And to be honest with you, it's a date that I would want to hire the castle again if we ever go back, because I have a feeling that there was a massive significance to the date, like other than just the history. Like there was a lot of energy and a lot of activity. And I just bet you it was all of the, like, you know, when you get residual energy, I bet you a lot of it was residual energy. There was a lot went on that day, and I know it's many years after, but if COVID had gone off, we could be there right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, to be fair, I mean that in that particular and in that particular time where I was there, I mean, I've done 3 investigations at the Castle Keep, and there's only one other time that I actually had the activity, and it wasn't anything like what we had that night. And you know, I mean, yeah, but the significance about this, I mean, obviously, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but there was an exorcism done on the keep, and if you're lucky enough to spot them, there's crosses all over the castle, and they're actually, especially when you go in the doorway, you'll actually see like a cross, which means it's been exercised. Now, obviously, you know, it's supposed to not do any activity, but you know, it's saying that it's not to say that you can't get the activity still. And obviously, you know, that night in particular, it was quite active. And again, as Katie said, it could have been to do with the actual significance of that date, because, you know, in those 3 days of that castle, that would have been under heavy siege. Yeah. There would have been a lot of things going around, and you know, when I've sort of fallen upstairs, you know, could that have been one of those soldiers trying to get to the battlements and had to push past me to get up towards the battlements? Again, I don't know. It's one of those things that you never actually go, no, it was a personal experience, but you just never know what exactly it could be. And you know, everything was surrounding this whole night. And I mean, because we didn't actually find out about this until, God, I think we were about 3 hours into this investigation by then before we found out about it all. And it was I
think we were about 2 into 4 hours, because I remember standing in, it was the break, maybe on one of the breaks, and I checked my phone, because obviously I wasn't on my phone. We were doing an investigation, and then I checked, and Rob was like, Kaylee, do you know this? And I'm like, no, but thank you. But I mean, we wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together. There was actually a big sign in the King's Chamber that literally said this graffiti from soldiers, and this happened on the 19th of October. And I think I've got a picture of the sign, and we walked in and we're like, oh yeah, that's today.
To be honest, I don't even remember that. I don't. To be honest with you, I haven't even seen this graffiti either. So I'd be interested to know where this graffiti actually is, because I've never actually seen it myself.
To answer your question, Sarah, we will be doing lives. Just as a group at the minute, we're not sure quite how to meet up. And obviously we're in tier 2 now, but we could go into tier 3, and it's just a bit all over the place. I'm really wanting to do more and go out more. We will. At the minute, we're just going to do a few live chats. We've been doing these in the group a bit, just trying to get a bit more, because we do have our Paranormal Newcastle group as well. If you're not in it, go join that, because we have a lot of chats. If it's not anything, we will go in there, but I do want to do live chats on the page as well, because it gets everyone involved. And if anyone has any questions, by the way, about anything, just give us a comment. We'll answer it whilst we're live. What Stuff said.
We'll try to answer it.
We're probably only going to be live for another, say, 15 minutes, just so we can at the beginning of the night, we all stood in the circle in the dark, and I felt something, and the girl next to me felt the same. What was it you felt, Dot? Because everyone sort of in the circle, like it's the second time at an investigation where we've all stood in a circle and somebody has seen or felt something. And I'll recount a story, and this, like Louise has nightmares about this. The first time we were there, we were all in the King's Chamber, which I genuinely feel like a lot of activity is in the King's Chamber. Personally, I just think that that's a place that I would focus on. But we did a group call out in the Great Hall, and it was quite big, and there was a lot of us. I think there was about 20 of us, and we all decided to do a smaller sort of thing in the King's Chamber instead. So we all stood and held hands and called out, and there was a big group of us. And Louise thought she saw like one of the other members of the public at the other end of the room. She thought she saw like her face sort of turn black and sort of look like a monk. And there is supposed to be a black monk that haunts it, but Louise just thought, no, it's just the dark. You know, it's just dark. But on the first break, she was talking to a few other people who also saw this same thing, as if like this woman's face had malformed into a monk. And I know it sounds crazy saying it, but it's not just one person that's seen this. It was about 3 people, and the girl was unaware.
I think as well as that, there was a lot. I think there was a lot of activity surrounding there's like a corner bit. There's like a doorway where you go into, and it was basically like where there's like loads of props and that, and there was a lot of activity around that doorway as well. And I think we tried to put one of those little thingy balls, but we didn't really get much after we put something there, but we didn't really get much after that. But it was just weird how, like, you know, obviously Dot spotted that. Yeah.
Louise, because the room went darker and darker. So the room went darker and darker and darker, and there was just, and I'm trying to recount it because it wasn't me that saw it, it was Louise, and Louise will be commenting as Paranormal Newcastle. But the room went darker and darker. There was people seeing like this face of a monk, and she described it, and honestly, like, it sounds bloody terrifying. But she was talking on the break, and there was another few lasses, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, I saw that. I thought it was just me." And both of them are like, "Well, describing the same thing, and neither of them have met each other before. It's just, you can't make it up. Like, you actually can't."
I mean, what we do try to do as well, we'll try to get people involved to basically say, look, if you see something, let us know. Yeah. But obviously, these lasses, bless them, they were very timid when they first joined with, and then obviously they sort of kind of warmed up towards the end of the night and that. And, you know, to be fair, it's always good to get the experiences as you're there, and if somebody can tell us what's going on, because, you know, Louise was right, it was getting really dark in that room, and it was quite interesting to actually watch the darkness just start taking over, and it was just like, what is actually going on? But what they usually say is that when you do a circle of a group, we're trying to use our energy for them to harness our energy to actually try and manifest. And the way they say it is, it's usually not strong enough to fully manifest, but they come in sort of shadows, and there's like knocks and bangs that they can sort of let them know that they're there. And I mean, you know, it's never actually been fully proven that's that, but it does actually happen.
Yeah.
Just my phone's going wild in the background here.
Oh, I'll show you another. I'll put on the screen a few pictures. I'll take us off and put a few pictures on of the castle itself.
While you're doing that, I just need to quickly nip somewhere. Back in a second.
Right, no worries. I'm going to see if I can add me in the picture. Bear with me. No, I can't. Bear with us. So the picture I'm going to put up, there's Louise in it, and there's essentially in the dungeon area, And we were getting a few little things in there. And this was on the investigation last year, so I'll show you that one. And then this one's of our little REM pod on the stair area. We had them set up nice. So it was good. It was a really good thing. I'll show you this picture too. So yeah, it was a really lush night, and Mark's back.
Oh yeah, my alarm clock was going off for some reason.
Well, my oven alarm's about to go off. So. But yeah, I think it was just a great night overall, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to ask because
I think it's going to. We need more than one night to talk about a lot of this because there was quite a lot of activity that night.
There was, yeah. We're not going to be live too much longer, probably only like another 5-10 minutes. So if anyone actually has any questions or anything, it doesn't have, there's the oven alarm. If anyone has any questions, just let us know. I'll leave you with Mark for like 2 seconds while I turn off the beeping.
Yes, I mean that night in particular, guys. I mean, like Dot, obviously Dot, who was on tonight, she said it was one of the best nights she'd ever had. And, you know, for the most parts of it, it was such an incredible sort of experience to sort of deal with a lot of what we had. And I mean, one of the experiences I've had previously, which I'll mention, is when I was last doing an investigation with another group at the time. We did what they call a human pendulum, and we were trying to get a spirit to interact with her. Now, one of the significant questions we did ask around. Was she connected with a castle? Obviously, we found out it was a female, but she said she wasn't connected to the castle. And we actually asked, are you connected to the bridge? And we got a yes to that. And at the time, we were asking, you know, did you die on the bridge? No. Did you jump off the bridge? And we got a yes. So, again, just because obviously we've got everything in the keep doesn't mean to say that the energy is just from the keep. So there was obviously that energy there, which was really quite it was just incredible to watch that. To be fair, it was really good. And I know a lot of people don't really deal with sort of like human pendulums and that. I don't really like using them, but you know, it was pretty significant that night. That was the only activity that I actually got on that night of investigating, which is obviously weird how we go this time. Exactly a year ago today, and we got all this activity. And again, significance is around the date. And no, I thought that was pretty cool. But I mean, if anyone's got any questions about that, about sort of like the castle, or anyone's got any questions about, you know, what like any experiences that you've had there, you know, we'll certainly be willing to talk about in the next sort of 8 minutes that we've got.
Yeah. Dear, I still can't get over a lot of it. I can't get over half of the. Well, I think the main bit is I can't get over the fact we didn't know about the significance of the date. And you've investigated the castle before. I've investigated it twice. You've been before another time as well, haven't you? There wasn't anywhere near that much activity.
No, I mean, I was just sort of, I don't know if you overheard us, but I was talking to the group about one of my previous times out with the human pendulum, and we got a significant hit about a woman.
I've never done that.
Yeah, it can be quite dangerous, but obviously sometimes it can work. I'm not a fan of them, but obviously the groups I was with like to do them, and there was a significance around it, which was basically about a woman who had actually committed suicide on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
She actually jumped off the bridge, but I've actually tried to investigate to find out if there's any significance of a woman jumping off the bridge, and I can't actually get anything at all.
There'd be quite a few, wouldn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So there was no significance of like who it could have been or what it could have been. But it was just weird how we managed to pick that up from just like, because we're asking basically, were you connected to the castle? And it was like, no. And then it was like, well, are you connected to the high level bridge? Yes. Did you die on the bridge? No. Did you jump off the bridge? Yes. So it's like, you know,
I
it's weird
know
how certain energies can pick up that.
the Bridge Hotel is supposed to have quite a bit, and I think there's like Roman parts of the Roman road underneath, um,
That
in the
that
cellar
that
and
that
the,
that pub that pub's freaky as anything.
the
That
gents'
pub.
toilets is supposed to be like, but
Yeah,
the yeah
don't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about that.
Bridge
um,
Hotel scary.
it was like you were being watched basically. I mean I just quickly nipped in to use the loo before I went across and set
Because
everything up. And
the
yeah,
castle don't have toilets, so if you're on an investigation in the castle and you feel pretty spooked out at the castle, all you have to do is cross the road to use the toilet. The spooky loo's across the road, which is quite funny. Eh. Has anybody got any sort of questions about anything, whether it be the Great Siege of Newcastle, which I must admit I'm not a expert on, but I know a little bit about it now. Or anything upcoming, anything that we're doing, anything that you want to be involved in, just let us know. Whether that be now or later, just give us a comment.
to be fair, the one thing I love to do to connect to the castle is the Black Gate. That is probably one of
Oh,
the places I really want to do, but the problem is they don't open it to the public to do anything with. And I would just love to get an investigation in there. That would be incredible.
I think it used to be open to the public.
It did, yes. It was open to the public up until about 1999. Then they shut it down, and then they reopened it again in 2006 to 2011, I think, and then they shut it again. But obviously they don't allow investigators into it, which is a shame because I think it would be quite a good one.
Bear with us. Sorry, just shouting at my cat. Here, run off. She's doing something behind the TV. Right, no, the Blackgate.
But yeah,
Blackgate
no,
was
the Black Gate would be. That's actually a good question, Dot. I don't actually know that.
at the minute it's a museum, I think. But
Yeah, it is. It's basically it's actually the headquarters for the people who actually like to run the castle. So that they do all their operations out of there. But originally, what it was for was basically it was a guardhouse originally, and it was like there's like loads of dungeons around it, and there's a lot of dungeons that were underneath. But obviously, they I don't think they're there anymore. But that's basically what it was there
Familiar
for.
face for you, Mark. In the comment I've got on the screen, a familiar face.
Oh, hey, Scott.
They were at the castle last year.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
But it'll have flashed up on everyone's memories as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, Scott, you might be able to remember about the thing. How did you feel upstairs when all that activity started happening when Kaylee got scratched? Because I know that would be significant for you as well. Because I think you started feeling something up there as well.
The scratch, yeah.
Yeah.
He commented that just before you said it, I think, as well, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah, just before. Well, it came up on my screen before.
I see. I'm on the live, so I can only see just as it comes up. But yeah, it was just. I mean, that in particular. I mean, it was just a weird night. But I mean, what I kind of get about the castle as well is it's reeked with history. It really is. It's probably one of the most iconic places in the UK, and like there's not many cities now actually have a castle still in it. I mean, yes, you have like there's a lot of castles in Scotland. There's a lot of castles sort of like down south. I mean, there's Cardiff Castle, which again I'd love to investigate that place. And it's really significant when you've got a castle that's reeked with history within your city. It really does make it quite a really interesting sort of place to go. And if you haven't been, guys, once COVID's over, get yourselves down there. Get yourselves on the tour. The tour's fantastic. It's really
Scott
good.
and Ryan.
Oh, hey, Ryan.
Were both with me, and honestly, at the time when I'm telling you about the scratch, and when I was like, right, guys, we need to go for a break, these were both on my team with me and Lou. It was a really good night, but honestly, like, let us know what you thought of it as well in the comments, because like it sounds crazy just talking about it, but it really was. And they'll remember the rattling of the chains, because that's somewhere that's blanked out of my memory, but they'll remember that because they heard that, I think.
Yes, I wish I had heard that. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome, because I know. There's a lot of like thingy. Was a lot of like rumors around, like people were actually chained up down in the basement area of the castle, and you can actually see the stanchions still of where the chains would have actually gone into. But I don't know if this was actually where the chain noise was coming from, or whether it was like in the actual chapel part itself.
Yeah, the chain noise was. Oh, what's he say? Sat in the same room now as well. I wonder whether they're at the castle. That'd be good. The chain noise. I can't. What is that? The dark room where we went into a change. You close your eyes and. You know what? It's so weird. The whole night, I just feel like it was just a blur, but there was so much activity. Like Louise said, she stood up in the chapel and heard the chains coming from the dungeon. The whole night was so active. Main room just seemed to get darker and darker, and the temperature changed. Oh, it would have been great if you were at the castle.
I remember the temperature change actually, because that happened in the Great Hall, and it got really cold behind me, and I think that coldness went round. I mean, obviously, to be fair, you expect coldness in the castle anyway, because it's a stone brick building, so you're going to expect the cold and the chills. But to be fair, it did actually get colder than normal. And I forgot about the temperature change, to be fair. And made Ryan feel
Scott's just commented the bang at the bottom of the castle. I'm so gutted because like ever since like at the top when there was the scratch and that had happened, after that my memory of that whole night is just blurry, and it's really hard to, because I know all of these experiences happened and I remember them, and I know I experienced them at the time, and my brain just.
I think we need Lou. I think we need Lou to do a second part of this, because I think obviously Lou knew quite a lot what happened to your bit. I mean, pretty much what happened in our bit was basically what I've mentioned before, but knowing about your bits and that would be ideal. So we can probably do a part 2 on this, and when Lou's a little less busy, we can do a part 2 on it.
We should get Scott and Ryan on to talk about it as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. If they'll definitely be up for it.
I think I want to go back to Oh, well, there Scott says he did seem to get affected in the chapel though, and I think I did. Yeah. That's exactly the point where I thought I did. And it was in the chapel, and I just wasn't really feeling. And I remember sitting down, and I think that's when the chain noise happened, because I remember sort of sitting on this like round thing, and just not sort of feeling there. And Louise was like, "Kaylee, are you all right? Are you all right? I'm really." And then she was talking to other people, going, "I'm really worried about Kaylee," and I fully remember all of that, but just sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm fine," and just being so dazed, but remembering everything going on around us, which is just so weird. But yeah, I mean. Yeah,
you've got to remember though. I mean, what happened to you there was, it's a rarity to actually have that happen, and it is really rare that to have like an actual like a sort of spirit touch you. But obviously, with the ferocity of the scratch that you did have, because I mean, to be fair, I mean the actual picture doesn't actually give it the true justice.
Doesn't
It
do it
was quite a
justice.
deep. It was a really deep scratch, and to be fair, the actual the even like on the break, you looked physically shaken, but you were still compass mentis. But
Yeah.
those types of things. I mean, especially when you do get touched, it does basically it freaks you out. I mean, I've been scratched, and I mean, to be fair, it did actually. I've only been scratched once, and it did freak me out when I got scratched. But it like when you've actually had something like physically touch you or harm you or hurt you, it's like it does take you back a bit. It's like you just think to yourself, like you're trying to process it in your head, but what you're doing is you're over processing it. And
Yeah.
you can be sitting like you were downstairs in the chat and like in the chapel, and you would have been milling over what had happened. And it is kind of one of those things where you just don't know what's quite gone on, and for yourself it is difficult to sort of think, because obviously it's the first time you've actually had something that's physically touched you, and you'll know for next time when if it does happen. I mean, to be fair, not many people actually do get touched by spirits, so it's not. We're not saying that it happens all the time. It's very rare to be actually touched by a spirit, or to explain what actually happened that night, because it is one of those things that happened, but deep down it's like you don't know what. Oh, that's Suki again.
Suki, they don't want
Suki,
to see you butt.
I was going to say, I really don't want to see your butt move.
No. Do you mind, Suki? Right. Go away. Go away. I love you. Go away. Right. Okay. Try again. Take two.
Yeah, we'll take that. Take two. Take 22 actually. But yeah, but as I was saying, it is very rare for somebody to actually be touched and actually sort of get a paranormal experience like that. And when it does happen, the first time it happens, it can really kind of like freak you out, and it actually will sort of does get thingy.
As Scott says, I think we did get the word touch on the Paratech, and I'm not one again for like I like the Paratech, but obviously I know it's not the be all and end all of everything. But yeah, I think we did get the word touch. I'm sure that's one of them in that. Let's have a look. This picture I'm going to show you it again. Bear with. I'm sure that was where I had the loud bang. I'm sure in there was where I shouted, "Oh, can anything make a bang?" And there was just this really loud bang, and everyone went, "I remember that one," because I was like,
well, that stanchion that we've got, that stanchion in the background, is actually where people would be actually chained to it. That's actually where they would be chained. Now, where we got the activity was just to the right of that. Obviously, where Lou was standing there, there's actually, that's where the fireplace area is, and that was where basically most of the activity started, like for our lot down there. And then obviously I was really surprised we didn't actually get that again, which was that was, I mean, for something of that significance to happen and not to get it for the remainder of the night does actually it is actually really quite weird. But we did have other lots of activity, but again, it is kind of like a blur for that. We don't really know what it was or what happens, but it is pretty good. But I think we need to do like a part 2 of this to get sort of get even like Scott's. Yeah.
So
I mean,
Scott wants to come on and Ryan wants to come on and talk about it. Like,
yeah.
I don't quite know. I've not done this with more than 2 people, but I think you can get 5 on, but I'm not sure. But we can try it.
we can actually get up to 10. So obviously,
I don't know whether that's just participants in the room or on the thing. We'll try it though, definitely.
Yeah, we'll give it a go, because I mean, to be fair, I think that would be significant as well, because obviously you get the view from like the public who were actually there that night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be pretty good, because I mean, if Dot's not too scared, she probably might be up for it.
Oh, yeah. As Louise is saying, imagine if we can go back next year. I want to go back next year. Well, I would have gone back this year on this date, but obviously
Yeah, no, I'll be up for
COVID.
that. The only thing what gets me is obviously I would love to investigate a bit longer, but the problem is in order to do that, it costs that extra bit of money to do it, and
Yeah.
it's we would greatly do it, but obviously the price of the tickets would be a little bit too high. But I think to be fair, maybe we can have a look at that and see what we can try and do for that next time. But no, I definitely would like to go back October the 19th again. That time.
It's really great, Stephen, honestly. Even if you haven't been to the castle, go for a day trip. Me when I was younger, sleeping bags. When I was younger, me and my grandma went to the castle and it was in the King's Chamber. I felt I actually saw something go in front of my eye and I just felt really uneasy. And so did she. But like seconds before, my brother was a lot younger at the time, and so was I. Seconds before, I was trying to lock my brother in the little door thing because the metal thing closes, and I was joking on about locking him in. And my grandma went, Kaylee, don't, Kaylee, don't. And I just felt I saw something in front of my eye and then just felt really uneasy. And I just went, should we leave? And she went, yeah, yeah, yeah. But we hadn't discussed that. And when we were out, I was like, Grandma, something happened there. Bear with us. Be 2 seconds. My oven's beeping again. I'll mute my mic. We need to go soon anyway.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I agree with that, Ryan. But again, that would depend on price for doing a sleepover there, because I mean, to be fair, the price of the tickets were like 38 quid. So, and that was just for the 4 hours. But I mean, if we can do a sleepover, that would be great. But again, it just depends on how much it would cost on price and that. But I think doing that definitely would love to do that. I would definitely love to do a sleepover.
I don't know how much it'll cost, but I can price it up and then price it between however many people go and see if people want to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously it'll be cost price. I'm not going to charge anyone ticket prices, but if anyone wants to, we'll price it up.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, even I would pay a portion. Even I would pay for a ticket myself, and I'm one of the lead investigators. I don't mind paying for a ticket, and obviously, Kaylee would probably be the same to keep the cost down.
Yeah, there's a one, and I know I've mentioned it to both Scott and Ryan, and I haven't actually announced where it is, so don't mention it. But there is a one that we're planning on doing, and obviously we were supposed to be doing it on actual Halloween, and we can't because. But I was going to do that one cost price and just sort of share the venue out between everyone. But it's still something that I'm wanting to do, but it'll not be Halloween. But there is a venue up and coming that we are going to do cost price, so we'll try all that, see if it works. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what I think we can get for the castle. Get a longer night and get a group display. But I think anyway, at the minute, unless anybody's got anything else to sort of say, or I think we'll probably leave it at this for now, and say goodbye because we've been live for nearly an hour, Mark.
Have we? Oh, yeah, we have. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
Definitely. And there will be a part 2 to this. Obviously, this live had to happen on this date, but there will be a part 2 to this one.
We'll just let you know, guys, we will probably be live Wednesday night, but we will give you a bit more information on that. But that will be on the group and not on the page. Am I right, Kaylee? We're doing that on the group, not the page?
I think it's on the group. I'll work it out. It could be on the page. It depends on. I'll probably have a look and see if thousands of people have flocked off this page because of our live. We might do it on the we might do it on the page, to be fair, because it's with some. If he's still up for it, I hope he is. I need to double check. But
I mean, even if not, I mean, we've got a few things we can talk about anyway. So
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of things happening.
If the person who I've asked to come on wants to come on, we'll do it on the page, and if not, we'll do it in the group. But as Louise says, it's been great. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'm gonna leave you with a few pictures of the keep, and we'll say bye.
See you later, guys. Take care.
Bye.